Hello there, it's me again, Jesus. Yeah, I'm the second coming of Jesus Christ. I guess that's what I'll name the video. I've done some videos. If you've not watched my channel before, I've got some videos. Please feel free to please watch them. But yeah, I'm recording another video. I haven't recorded anything for a couple of days, so yeah. I don't script these at all, I just ramble. I basically just ramble. So, and I think part of me wants to try to be as genuine as possible. I don't really want to be, make it sound like I've written everything down because, I'd rather it just comes out as it's meant to. I'm thinking about recording some different videos at the moment because there's a couple of videos. There's quite a lot of things I want to talk about, actually. Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about me being Jesus. So, how do I know I'm Jesus? How do I know who I am and all these things? Well, the thing is that the world is like a giant magic puzzle. I mean, can you imagine, right? Okay, you're just some like average Joe. You're just, you don't really have many friends. You're not Mr. Popular. You're not Mr. Sexy. You're not really known for, but you're just this regular guy, walking through life, and then you switch the television on, or you look at the movie trailers, or you watch stuff on YouTube, and it's like everything is like, it's almost like all these people are mimicking you or talking about you, or the movies are like, oh look, it's like, why does everything have to depict some aspect of my life in such a crazy way? It's like, my name's Grant, okay? So my name is Grant Salvin, okay? That's the name of my birth certificate. I was born in Aberdeen. Okay, so let's start from where I was born, shall we? And my name looks like Grant Salvation, doesn't it? Grant Salvation, I obviously didn't notice that until, well, I've been living for 35 years. It was only a couple of years ago I started to scratch my head and wonder about that. I was like, yeah, my name is a bit weird, isn't it? I've got a crucifix on my neck that says God grant. It says, God grant me the serenity. And it's like, yeah, it's weird my name's on there, isn't it? It is kind of weird. Anyway, I was born in 1987. That's a very interesting number, that, isn't it? So if you look at a clock, right, a round clock, and it's got the numbers that go all the way around it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So if you look at 10, there's a 1, right? And it's next to a 9. And that 9's next to an 8. And that 8's next to a 7. You see how that works? 1987. Yeah? You don't have any other... Think of how many other... That's it's a year that really stands out. Not to mention 987 is like some sort of Fibonacci number, right? I'm no crazy mathematician. I was good at maths at school, but I gave it up. I stopped after a while. Oh yeah, you can see that I'm a smoker. Okay, we'll talk about that. Let's actually, I just said I gave it up. What does it mean to give up something? Oh, I'm giving up. I'm giving up. I'm giving up. Who's up? Who's up there? Who's up there? God's up there, right? That's what everyone says. God's up there. And you're saying you're giving up. You're giving up. So who are you giving it to? You giving it to someone? Me, maybe? All your black magic and sorcery and bullshit? Oh, he smokes. Oh, he couldn't possibly be Jesus. Oh, didn't we give him that cigarette? Oh, right, oh yeah. Anyway, sorry, that was just a quick ramble. Sorry to go off on a tangent. Okay. I was born in Aberdeen. What's a bird? What's a bird? Bird, it has wings, yeah? I'm Archangel Michael. I'm Jesus. I'm the Holy Spirit. I'm God in the flesh. okay? So, I was born in Aberdeen. My parents got divorced just before I was born. My dad was a gambler, and my mum divorced him because he pished all his money. Well, he gambled all the money away, right? My mum wasn't very happy about that. And by the way, my mum was Satan. You could have said, well, maybe she became possessed by Satan, or she was Satan. Yeah, anyway, she definitely had a crazy life. But yeah, very, very twisted individual. And I've spoken about her in my previous videos. If you want to learn more about her, please go back. You can watch those videos. Okay? A lot of people are going to think, oh, this guy's like the Antichrist. Well, in a sense, I guess you could say, what does anti mean? So anti, well, what's an ant? Well, my name's Grant. Yeah? Grant. Ant. Anti. Okay. What's a tie? What's anti? Or, what's an anus? What's a tie? Yeah, you take a rope and you tie it. What's that? Let's move on from that subject. I'm just trying to get you to think in ideas. This is the thing I've been talking about in all my previous videos. Magic. What is magic? What's witchcraft? What's sorcery? I'm trying to get people to understand how this stuff connects. This is what people would think of as the Matrix. That word is in itself problematic. You see, I used to have a friend, a guy I used to call my friend, or you would say a mate, and his name was Patrick. Or you could shorten his name to Rick, right? Rick. Patrick, right? Patrick. Who's Pa? Papa, right? Papa Trick. Yeah, he's a tricked man. He's a stupid man. Yeah? Mate Rick. Anyway, whatever. It's all black magic and sorcery and witchcraft that's been, it's all about stealing my energy. This whole world, all these people who are demon possessed, everyone who's demon possessed is trying to rob me of my energy, basically, okay? And it's a huge mistake to make. People think that God only gives life. He couldn't possibly kill all of you if he wanted to. Only Satan could do that. Well, I'm afraid, that's the thing, right? You have a baby, right? You have a baby. You don't want that baby to fear you, do you? You don't want to be like, okay, if you misbehave, yeah. You don't do that, do you? That's not a nice thing. God loves his children. God shows his kind, loving side. But God has the power to destroy and get rid of all of you if he wants to. Just understand that, okay? Let's make that clear. And that's what I'm here to do. So when I'm talking about Antichrist, okay, so, there are lots of Antichrists, Most people are anti-Christ. They don't like Christ. They hate Jesus, right? So in that sense, they are Antichrists. Yeah? Okay? And there are people who are going to be like, oh, he's evil. He's not Jesus. How could he be Jesus? Why doesn't he get down on his hands and knees and kiss all our feet and stuff? And pray for us and all this stuff. Look, this is me 2,000 years later. I'm pissed off. I've evolved, yeah? I've evolved, you could say. Yeah, evolution, blah, blah, blah. Funny thing is, I was watching this computer game show called Evolution. It's a street fight. It's fighting games, right? And one of their adverts, it says, Gran Turismo. Grant. Yeah. And it's sponsored by Chipotle. I've got an air conditioner in my house, and it's made by what's it made by? It's the brand is like Inventor, and the model's called Chili. What's a chili? Yeah, you eat a chili, it's hot. Yeah, Chipotle. Anyway, sponsored by blah blah blah. Anyway, I'm really going off on one, aren't I? Fuck it. Whew. Sorry, I'm just, yeah. Anyway, you can see this t-shirt. I didn't actually buy this myself. Someone gave it to me. A guy I used to work with. A guy called John. I'm a brave soul, apparently. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Joe. Anyway, yeah, so I was born in Aberdeen, in Scotland, and, you know, a couple of weeks before I was born, there was the Great Storm of 1987. Okay, so Great Storm, GS. My name is Grant Salvin. You know, what else is, oh yeah, gold, silver. Everyone wants gold and silver, GS, GS, GS. You notice how the word gold looks like the word God? Yeah? And if you take the L out of gold, what does L mean? L means God. L is the generic word in ancient Hebrew for God. So, isn't that strange? You know, you look at the word good. Oh, look, the word God is in the word good as well. It's interesting, isn't it? Anyway, you see, this is the thing. Everything's magic. Everything's connected. Everything is like intricately connected, and this is how magic. You know, you need to understand all this stuff. And this is the thing. People say God doesn't exist, but when you recognize that everything's connected, everything has all these weird connections. Everything's like, everything is like a giant puzzle. You can literally look at anything and see that, discover a puzzle behind it. And this is the thing. People are so freaking blind, and I never knew this stuff for a long time. People sometimes notice like a little thing here or there, and I think, oh, that's funny. That's a weird coincidence, isn't it? But actually, the more you dig and dig and dig, oh wow, it's everywhere. It's literally everywhere. Anyway, I was born in Aberdeen. There was this huge storm, the Great Storm of 1987. And if you looked at what happened in the southeast of England, which is where I ended up living for most of my life, well, I lived there for 20 years. And I'm 35 years old, so you can say I spent the majority of my life in that place. And a lot of stuff happened when I was there. The gay capital of the UK, I was living in Brighton. My mum was a lesbian. She took me to, we moved from London to Brighton. That was when Aaliyah, who's my wife, that's when she died in a plane crash, which happened, and that's the same time when I started smoking. That was 22 years ago. That was year 2001, okay? So that's when I started at boarding school, and I, probably within the first month I was there, I was smoking. Trying my first, I was just, getting started, basically. And that's when I started listening to heavy metal music. Heavy metal music. You know what happened to Aaliyah's plane? Oh, it was overweight. That's why it crashed. Heavy metal. This is the thing. I'm connected. It's a connection thing. I need to, I want to put a separate video about her, so, I'll keep that for later. But if I've been talking about her in my previous videos, and what happened on the 24th of August. Well, you see, her plane in 2001, it was on the 25th of August that her plane crash happened. And this year, just a couple of days ago, you see that guy Prigozhin, the head of the Wagner Group in Russia, his plane crashed, right? And if you noticed all the videos that they were showing in the media, they all have the number 112 on the videos, right? A lot of them. They have this 112 mark, which is apparently the emergency services number in Russia. 112. Well, what's 1 plus 1? It's 2, right? So you have 2. 22. The number 22, really? 11 times 2, 2 times 11. It's all numerology stuff, right? It's all energy stealing, right? This is what I'm on about. This is what I'm talking about. If I tell you, you don't listen to me, if people don't listen to me and don't recognize who I am, terrible, 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 terrible things will happen. Okay, I don't give a crap about Prigozhin. He's just a guy, whatever, don't care. But, that can have huge consequences, right? That can lead to massive, massive consequences. You know, you've got the Wagner Group. You know, what are they going to do now? They're not happy. They think they think think Prigozhin's been assassinated. What do you think can unfold? You know, this is like the domino effect, right? Anyway, so yeah, you know, if you look at, so I was born in November, the 14th of November, right, to be precise, 1987. King Charles, yeah, his birthday is the same day as mine, 14th of November. Okay, so 14 plus 11 is 25. You know, Christmas Day is the 25th of December, right? That's what people celebrate it on for some reason. But anyway, yeah, well, yeah. You know, I know all sorts of connections to that, but do you not think it's really strange that if you look at tarot cards, so you've got all these spiritualists, they all using tarot cards, and you have, you know, like, you know, for all the different star signs. So I'm a Scorpio, so my card is death. Okay, so the Scorpio card is like death, right? Like the Grim Reaper, yeah? And then you got Capricorn, which is where, you know, if you were born on Christmas Day, you'd be a Capricorn. And the Capricorn is the devil. The devil! Can you believe it? Can you see this? Can you see how witchcraft is being used against me? You know? But the truth is, well, yeah, I am basically the devil. I'm devil Jesus. I'm here to basically say, well, you don't want life, do you, people? You really don't want to live, do you? You really don't love your father. You really don't love me. So what else is left for you, I'm afraid? Not very much life, I don't think so. No, no, no. You know, bad, terrible things are going to happen, and that's just how it has to go. You know, everyone was told this day would come. You know, the end of days, Judgment Day, Armageddon, you know, the apocalypse, you know, all that stuff, right? Yeah, terrible, terrible things will happen. And, you know, lots of people, you know, go read the book of Revelation. You know, what does it say? Go read it. Go read it. Anyway, it's like a giant puzzle. That's what it is, right? It's a book of magic. Basically, you have to understand that everything is magic. But the Bible itself is magic as well. It's like very powerful magic. You know, it controls everything. You know what I mean? It's because people are always trying to connect themselves to it. Because the demons are always, you know, the demon possessed are always trying to associate themselves as being, you know, like a star or godlike or this or that. This is the problem, you know, everyone wants to be God, and God's really pissed off, basically, right? I mean, you think about the Tower of Babylon, right? They were trying to build up this massive tower to get to heaven, you know, wanting to be like, they were rebellious, you know, they wanted to rebel against God and say, no, I want to be God. It's like, no, 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 you're not God, I'm God. You're just a piss, you know, you're a piece of shit, okay? And you're gonna, you know, one thing is God has loved people, right? And shown his love and blessed people, and, you know, people are just, yeah, they do what they do. Anyway, hang on, let me catch my breath here. Oh. So if you look at the months of the year, okay, so you got January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Okay, so if you go from July, so you got J, and then you got August, you've got A, and then you got September, S, October, O, November, N. So it spells a name in there, doesn't it? It spells a name, and that name is Jason. J, Sun. Okay, so who was the sun and had a name that started with the letter J? Ooh, I wonder what. So I'm born in November, right? Right at the end of that word, Jason. You know, you've seen the films. Jason Bourne. Jason Bourne. You know, he's this Secret Service or whatever. You know, he's like an undercover agent. right? He's like a spy agent, kick-ass guy. You know, he kills all the bad guys and saves the day, and like James Bond, right? James Bond on Her Majesty's Secret Service. When the Queen died recently, oh, that's a story. Ooh, wow. I was going through my house. I was in a terrible state. I was upset. I was mad. I was angry. I was going through my mum's house, taking down all the artwork off all the walls, realizing just all the witchcraft and stuff that had been that's going on all around me. And I took this artwork and I just took it downstairs and I put my foot through it. This huge painting. I just destroyed it, and there was this huge crack of thunder in the background, lightning and thunder. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? This stuff happens to me a lot. It's happened to me many times, but it's quite hard to explain to people, really. But anyway, next thing I know, Queen's dead. Yeah, yeah. And the stuff I was posting to Facebook at the time, I was posting about Aaliyah's death in Queen of the Damned. So the film Queen of the Damned, I was posting all the scenes where she was dying. And of course, anyone who was looking at my Facebook page that day before the Queen died, that's the thing. I post stuff, shit happens, right? I do things, then something transpires, yeah? And people are like, I didn't see nothing. Yeah, isn't that weird? Like, how could you post about a queen dying, and then the next thing, the queen of our country drops dead? It's like, and no one can put two, no one can connect those two dots. They're like, no, Grant, I didn't see shit. Okay, then, well, let's carry on, shall we? Let's carry on. Yeah. Just see what's the next disaster that's gonna happen. Who's the next person who's gonna drop flat on their face? Oh, there you go. People can say, oh, he's the Antichrist. Well, look, I am who I am. I'm Jesus, okay? I'm God in the flesh. I'm here to basically tell people, you're all in a lot of trouble. Unless you're right with God, you're in a hell of a lot of trouble. And that's how it's going to go, basically. Yeah. So, what else can we talk about? So how do I know I am who I am? Well, wow. Yeah. So I was raised by my mom, mostly. My dad, I never really saw him. I lived with my grandparents when I used to live in London. I lived with my mum and my grandparents and my mum's girlfriend. And then when I was about 12 years old, we moved to Brighton, the gay capital of the UK. And so, I spent 20 years living there, and, well, where do I begin? Where do I start? Sorry, let me just grab a cup of tea quick. I'm just, it's fucking soothing. All right. Anyway, so I was living a miserable life when I was in my mid-20s, right? I hadn't found the Bible. I was just starting to discover the Bible. So I discovered, I was starting to read the Bible, and I was trying to figure out, what's this all about? I'm seeing all this, there's this, people are all talking about this migrant crisis, right? They're talking about this migrant. Now, how do you spell migrant? Yeah? What's my name again? Grant. So we have these, all these migrants, yeah, and people call it a crisis. Well, anyway, let's continue, shall we? So what happened was, well, I was reading the Bible, and believe me, all the demon-possessed people were trying to get me to stop. They were all trying to interfere in my life, trying to create as much trouble and drama for me as humanly possible. And I tried and kept to keep doing as much as I could, and it was a very slow, painful process. But I started putting dots together, figuring out various things. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Back then, I started calling on the name Yahweh. It's not a name I like to use. I use the name Father. Anyway, what happened back then? So I got surrounded by spirits and ghosts and demons, they started to, well, I was under attack, essentially, back then. And wow, I went on a long, long walk. I went for a 10-mile walk one day. Went up to the cliffs, and I was trying to get to the cliffs. You ever seen the tarot deck? It talks about the very first card in the tarot deck is, and I never knew this back then, but the very first tarot deck card is the Fool card, and it's this guy walking towards the cliff edge. And so as I got towards the cliffs, the spirits dragged me in another direction, and I went out to somewhere near New Haven, I think. I ended up in a place called Pigeoning. Anyway, I was running through farmers' fields. I was going through sheep trails. I was walking through fields with sheep in it. I was basically just going wherever these spirits were taking me. And when things got dark in the evening, I ended up in a place called Pigeoning. Throughout the day, every time I looked up at the sky, I would see the clouds would take a certain, would make faces at me, I was being communicated with the clouds. And, they were angry messages, like, this entity is and I was watching the clouds getting drawn together, like, really quickly, like, it was like, it's not like I just looked up the sky and I just looked at the clouds and I thought, oh, well, that's a weird shape, isn't it? No, it wasn't like that. I was literally watching these clouds being drawn together and shoved into a shape. And it's like, like faces, or like a sheep, or this or that, and, angry faces and stuff. And I'm like, it's like the most mind-blowing thing I'd ever seen in my life, obviously. And I think anyone in my shoes would have probably, I think the vast majority of people probably would have died from being so frightened. But for me, I was really, because I've gone through so much crap in my life, I'm just like, I'm like, oh, this is crazy shit, man. This is some crazy shit. Woo! And I'm just like, I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going. And anyway, that night, I saw an angel in the sky, or a demon in the sky. I'm not quite sure. And I saw many, many other things, and I was under attack. I was under heavy attack at the time, I'm being honest. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what happened that night, that day. I'm being perfectly honest. Yeah, wow, it was the scariest time of my life. An unbelievable story for, who's going to believe me when I tell them it? They're just going to be like, nah, you're just talking a lot of rubbish. Anyway, that's what happens to me. So I know you know, from that point forward, I'm like, wow, this shit doesn't happen to people. Like, who can say that they've seen something like that? And I'm like, so either I'm like, you know, like a really evil person, and I'm being judged by God. I'm being, you know, I'm being cursed or whatever, or, you know, and then, you know, it's because of who I am. It's because I'm Jesus, and the demons. Yeah, I got a lot of enemies. I mean, not to mention, you know, obviously, you know, I suppose, yeah, well, that's the thing. You know, when something bad happens to me, well, it's a learning experience as well, right? I can think, okay, well, what did I get wrong? You know, how did I get into that situation, and how do I, you know, where do I go from here? But essentially, yeah, that's the story, okay? I know who I am. I know who I am. You know, I can see my reflection in movies. You know, I'm being imitated and mimicked by all the demon possessed. I see my own reflection. You know, I'm a guy who lives in isolation all the time. I can hear people speaking my words, speaking my thoughts, mimicking my actions, talking about subjects and things. It's like, how do these people know anything about me? Like, how would they know I'm going through a certain thing if they've never seen me, they've never spoken to me, they have no idea who I am, yet we seem to have the same thoughts, or we're doing the same sort of similar things over and over again. And it's like, it's not just like I noticed this once or twice. You know, this is something that's observable every single day. It's over and over and over. It never ends. You know, it just never stops. It's going on and on and on and on and on. It never stops. It never stops. I can find example after example after example after example. It's endless. And this is why, you know, I'm doing this channel, because I can point all this shit out to people and say, look, I talked about this, and then this happened, or, you know, I was doing this and this, and then you see, or I was wearing this particular t-shirt, and or you can see how, look at this person who was in the news, or look at, you know, this news headline, or, you know, look how people all tried to mimic me all of a sudden. You see, it's all about stealing light. It's all about stealing the light. And this is, well, here's the point. Here's a guy I've been watching on YouTube a lot. He's got a channel. It's called Torch of Christ Ministries, and it's run by a guy called Philip Blair. I have a cousin called Philip, actually. If you remember back when Aaliyah died, they released that film, The Blair Witch Project. Yeah. And we had a prime minister in this country called Tony Blair. And, you know, Tony is short for Anthony, or Anthony, right? My name is Grant. You know, Granthony, Anthony. Anyway. This is how people connect. It's all magic. Okay? Anyway, you know, I've been watching loads of his videos. Seems like a great guy. And, you know, he really goes around and he really does try to help people and save people. And, you know, he doesn't, you know, he puts his ego down, and he's just like, you know, God loves you, turn to God. And, you know, I've been watching some of his videos, and I'm like, whew, you know, I just want him to know I'm here. I just want him to know, like, you know, these people, their time's up. Their time's done with, you know what I mean? Like, it's game over for people who haven't shown that they love God now. You know, it's pretty much game over, you know. Yeah, I mean, like, what can they do now if they know that I'm here? You know, like, it's a bit late in the day to be saying sorry, isn't it? Oh, sorry, we do actually love you, Jesus. We didn't mean to call you a wanker or a cunt, or, you know, we didn't mean to call you a loser, or, you know, do all the witchcraft and sorcery against you and treat you like scum. But this is the thing, right? So his ministry is called Torch of Christ. Isn't that a weird thing? So he's basically got the light of Christ, right? And I'm talking about demons who try to steal my light. Well, it's a little bit different, I suppose. It's a little bit different, I suppose, in his case, because, obviously, yes, he's doing that, but in a sense, he's giving back. Do you know what I mean? God gives, God blesses, but, where's the, but that's the thing, he does, he gives God the glory, right? So there's there's like a feedback loop. So, it's, he takes energy, but he returns it as well, right? But most human beings, they just take. They're just vampires. They just want to take what they can get and run away with it, and say that they hate God, basically. Anyway, so like I said, I know who I am. And, for me, it's awful. I've watched for the last couple of years, hearing about all these stories about, child murderers and, an example of, there was a boy called Arthur. I've forgotten his surname. I need to look it up. Let me look it up quickly. Hang on. I've got my phone here. Look, I'll just look it up quickly. What was his name? Yeah, it was Arthur Lavinia Hughes. Okay, now it was his dad, and his dad's girlfriend. It was his dad's girlfriend who killed him, basically. But obviously his dad was responsible for it too because they were abusing him. And this is another thing I've explained in my other videos. I'm Merlin. I was Merlin, right? I'm basically, you just need to think of me as Jesus, the wizard, Merlin, God in the flesh guy. I'm basically like the super powerful wizard that can destroy the whole, literally that's the power I've got. But anyway, he died because this girlfriend of his dad, she was making him drink water full of salt. Now, my name is Grant Salvin. Sal means salt. Vin means wine, which is a drink. Okay? So this is what demons do. They try to steal my energy. And you see, the demon, by doing that to Arthur, they've now, she's granted, which is to give someone salt drink, right? So they've created this, it's witchcraft. It's demonic witchcraft in order to steal my light. And this is why I say lots of people are going to suffer, lots of people are going to die, because if everyone's demon possessed, you're all possessed by these demons that want to steal my light. And they do it in these kinds of ways, which lead to terrible, terrible consequences. And this is what I'm talking about. So it's not like I, wished for that terrible thing to happen. I didn't. Absolutely not. Of course not. But like I just explained, people are demon possessed. There are consequences. Terrible shit happens, and it's connected to me because I am the light of the world, and the demons are trying to steal my light. And this is why, all I have to do is be on camera. All I have to do is speak to people. All I have to do is be like, hey, I'm here. Listen to all this stuff I talk about. Listen to all, look at what I do. And look how it connects to all these tragic, crazy events, right? You know, there was a guy who texted me. It's the first text message I've had in a very long time, by the way, from a human being, you know. A guy I used to work with called James. We were van drivers working together. And when I worked at that place, I worked there for 6 months. It was a place called Hermes. It's called Every now. It's called Every, which is a very strange name, right? You know what they say? Every knee shall bow. Anyway, Hermes. So I worked there for 6 months. Then I took 6 months out. This was during the pandemic. And then I went back for 6 months. And, you know, the first week I went back, there was the second time I went to work there. So it was the second coming, right? It was the second coming of Grant Selvin to Hermes, right? And in the first week, there was an explosion that killed a whole bunch of people just down the road from our depot. And I'll look it up now. Right, so if I put explosion, Wessex, I don't know why it's called Wessex Water, but anyway, Wessex Water, okay? So that was on the 3rd of December, 2020, in Avonmouth, okay? It killed 4 men, including a 16-year-old apprentice. And yeah, yeah. So, you know, my first week that comes back, there's a whole bunch of people. I can't remember what road was it on. I think it was like Kingsway Avenue or something like that. I can't remember what it was. Go on, let's have a quick read. What does it say here? So, so there was a guy called Michael James. Obviously, I told you I'm Archangel Michael. There was someone called Luke, someone called Brian, and someone called Raymond. Well, what's a ray? We know what a ray of light is, right? Anyway. Basically, yeah, I don't know, I can't remember what the address is. If you look at the street it's on, it's like, I don't know, like Kingsway Avenue or something like that. Anyway, just look it up. Just look it up. You know, like, you know, Jesus is described as being like the, you know, living waters and stuff. You know, Jesus has a lot of association with water, right? Because water gives life and water cleanses, right? Anyway, this is the thing. Wherever I go, whatever I do, crazy stuff happens. Well, it happens all around the world, you know. Doesn't matter if, you know, you could live in Australia, you know, I still affect, you know, I am the sun, like the sun in the sky, you know. You know, you notice in my name, Grant, there's the word Ra. Who's Ra? Ra is the sun god, right? Yeah, I've been involved with many, 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 many things in my existence. I existed before any other human being ever existed. You know, I was right there at the very beginning. You know, well, I always existed. That's my understanding. You know, I am me and my Father. We are one and the same, basically. It's a very complicated thing to understand. Anyway, what else can I ramble about? Yeah, so isn't it interesting? Everyone wants to acquire gold and silver, you know. Gold and silver. So the word silver kind of looks like the word Salvin, you know. It's got an S, it's got an L, it's got a V, well, and an I as well, I suppose. Yeah. 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 Anyway, um, I just installed Arch Linux on my computer. Decided I'm going to go the Arch Linux way. Isn't it interesting? You got, yeah, I mean, this is the thing, you know, people disguise themselves as people they're not, you know. You know, if you installed Arch Linux and, you know, you're messaging away on Arch Linux, you know, you're an Arch messenger, or, you know, angel means messenger, right? So are you now the archangel? You're the archangel, are you? Oh. You know, it's all witchcraft, sorcery stuff. You know, the demon possessed do what the demon possessed do without even knowing what they do most of the time. And they didn't put God first. You know, they didn't say, God, I love you. I'm going to, you know, submit to you. I'm going to give my life to you. You know, who's doing that, really? No one. Almost nobody. I'm trying to stop smoking. I'm going to try to stop smoking soon. I have to. You know, whenever I quit smoking, I always get crazy visions. It's a strange thing. Like, I don't normally have many dreams. I've gone years and years and years, and you know, without ever remembering a single dream, or ever noticing I've ever had a dream. As soon as I quit smoking, all the visions, all the crazy stuff starts happening. It's like, wow. I get mega angry when I stop smoking as well. Well, I certainly struggle. Sorry for my coughing. And my gulping. Sorry about that. But yeah. So yeah, I am the second coming of Jesus Christ. Let me explain something to you, okay? So, and you know, if you listen to my older videos, you know, I've given loads of explanations about this kind of stuff. Okay, so, you know, if you're going to the toilet, right, and you say to your friends, oh, I'm going for a number one. I shan't be long. Or you say, oh, I'm going for a number two. I might be a little bit longer than, you know, just wait for it. Right? You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about, right? You know, what does it mean? What's the second coming? What does it mean to come? And what is associated with the number two? You know, why? You know, this is the thing. Witchcraft. Witchcraft is sex, man. You know, there's witchcraft, there's sex magic, there's all these things. You know, people were told to do things a certain way. I mean, you think about it, right? Okay, so, you know, when the Israelites, when you had the Hebrews, right, and, you know, and you would see that they would have, you know, you see men with multiple, well, they'd have like, you know, have a wife and concubines and so on, right? And they'd have loads and loads and loads of children, tons of children, right? Huge families. And then when Jesus came, for the first time, when I came, you know, it was, okay, marriage is between a man and a woman. So, you know, things changed a little bit, right? I'm not quite sure how things are going to go now. But obviously, you know, we have to sort through a lot of things, right? We have to figure out where we're headed with all things. But that day will come. But, you know, the thing is, you know, God asks people, tells people, like, you know, this is what I'm asking you to do. You know, I expect you to follow that, you know. you know, temptation is temptation at the end of the day, whether you're gay or straight or a drug user or, you know, or whatever it is. Temptation is temptation. And people have to say no to these, you know, these sinful things. And if people can't put God first, then, you know, that's a problem. You know, if you're going to put your sex life before God, if you're going to put drugs before God, if you're going to put alcohol before God, or whatever it is that you do that you shouldn't be doing, you know, you just have to put God first. And people have proven that they're, you know, most people have proven that they're incapable of doing that. This guy, Philip Blair, I was watching him, you know, he was doing a video of at Tottenham, and he was in amongst all the crowd, all the football yobs and hooligans, right? And they were like, cunt, you a cunt, you pedo, you wanker. And, you know, trying to like fight with him and stuff like that. And it's like, wow. You know, I hear what he's saying. He's like, you know, I'm here to show love. God loves you. You need to be saved. And, you know, and I'm just thinking, wow, these people need to just be like wiped out. These people need to be destroyed. And obviously, you know, someone like Philip Blair is going to hear me say that and think, wow, you can't be Jesus. You must be the Antichrist. Well, you know, like I've explained, I'm here, you know, this is like the cleanup operation, right? This is where, you know, we take the trash and then go, whoop, off you go. See you later. You know, whatever that means, right? Whatever that means. But essentially, you know, this is me trying to get the ball rolling here. This is, you know, people need to recognize who I am. We need to, you know, things will happen. Things will progress. And we'll figure it out as we go. You know, I don't have all the bits of information yet. I mean, obviously, you know, what's the point of me knowing all the things that I don't need to know yet? You know, I'm just, it'll all be figured out. It'll all be spoken about. Yeah, I mean, and people should already know. People should already know, right? People have already been told what they need to be told. And if they can't make the right decision based on that information, well, it's, you know, that's just how it is. That's just how it is. Whether you like it or not. Right, how long has this video been, do you reckon? 53 minutes. Okay. So, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? Well, okay, so yeah. So how do I know I'm Jesus? Let's think of something else to say. How did it start? Well, you know, I started to see myself reflected in artwork. You know, before I moved to Brighton, I was a fan of Fatboy Slim, who was based in Brighton. I had a mini disc, and I used to listen to Fatboy Slim, right? And you know, it's like this kid guy. He's like, you know, this big fat kid. And if you look at his greatest hits album, it's basically this, you know, big fat man or kid, and he's got angel wings, right? And he's got like a spliff in his hand, and he's got sunglasses on. And, you know, there was a point in time, you know, when I started to begin to realize I'm an angel. I'm like, why is all this crazy stuff happening to me? And then I just typed in, you know, oh, let's listen to some music. So I put in Fatboy Slim, and I just saw that artwork, and I just thought, what am I looking at here? Like, is that, because I've gone through, you know, stages of being fat and slim. You know, I've always been I'm like a fat, skinny guy. You know, I'm like a skinny, fat guy. You know, when I was younger, I used to be a lot, you know, I think the heaviest I was like 16 stone at one point. But anyway, you know, I just began to see things. I began to notice, and I'm thinking, there's this I just started to notice my own reflection. It's like a reflection thing. It's like, what's going on? And why have I been noticing all these strange things in my life? Like these weird coincidences. It's almost like when I get interested in something, it just seems like, it just seems like all sort of, it sort of just propagates. It just fucking, do you know what I mean? It's like I just see copy, 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 copy. I just see it just, it's like the whole world seems to start becoming interested in things I'm interested in for some weird, bizarre reason. It's like, yeah, when I was a kid, my mum always said, "Oh, Grant, you're a bit of a trendsetter, aren't you?" And I thought, yeah, you know what? I always have been. I've always thought of myself as, well, or sort of like I'm at you know, I'm at the, I'm at that end of the curve, right? What, you know what I mean? But I never, it took me a long time to really make the connection of like, oh, it's actually because of who I am. That's the thing. That's the thing. You know, you go outside, right, and you go talk to someone, look them in the face, and you think, okay, so how do you see that person? How can you see that person? You can see them because of the sunlight that's beaming off them, right? You're seeing the sunlight, just beaming off their non-light emitting face, right? You wouldn't see them if there was no light for you to see them with, right? Right? It's all magic. You have to understand that once you understand all this stuff, you realize that the whole world, the whole universe is magical. Things I do doesn't just affect what happens on planet Earth. Things in the solar system, in the universe. I remember times when, there was like, you get like supernovas and kilonovas, and, there was like I remember a time it was like this, I think it was like this, I don't know if it was like a black hole or if it was like a star, a huge, huge star explode, or it was like it was a huge collision of some kind, and it caused the entire universe. They were saying in the news, it caused the entire universe to shake. The entire universe. Yeah, yeah. You have to understand. I'm connected to that stuff too. That's how crazy this shit gets. Like really, I'm not fucking kidding. That's how fucking dangerous I am. That's how dangerous I am, really. Well, I'm God. What did you expect? What else would you expect? What, you just expect me to say, "Oh, I'm here to love your ass," and that's it. You want to love me back? Isn't that funny? Love me back. Love me back. What's a back? What does it mean to be laid back? Oh, I'm laid back. I'm laid back. I'm so laid back right now. What does it mean to be idle? If you don't do anything, right? Let's say you're really lazy and you're idle. What's an idol? What's a false idol? What did God say about idols? And you shall not worship other gods before me, other idols, right? What's an idol? Why is everyone so fucking lazy? Huh? Why is everyone so fucking lazy and idle? Or, they want to be a star, they want to be this, they want to be that. I want to be famous, I want to be rich, I want to be popular, I want to have loads of friends, I want to be the center of attention. Yeah, look, I've explained all this stuff in my previous videos, If it fascinates you, like it does me, well, go check it out. If it's a bit slow for you, just speed up the video to like 1.5 or 2, It'll help you get through it, perhaps. But, really think about it. Really listen to what's being said. Yeah. So, this is the situation I'm trying to explain. And what is it I'm here to do? Obviously I'm telling these things. It's like, well, it sounds like I'm almost being threatening. But, I'm like, well, that's the thing. I'm like, you know what a cactus is, right? A cactus is a cactus. It's just a plant. It's just standing there. It's not doing anything. But if you want to attack that cactus, wow, you're going to get spiked. You're going to get, ow. That's going to hurt. That's going to hurt you, right? Just as an analogy, right? That's kind of like what I am, right? I have I am who I am. I'm God. And the universe is like, the way everything is designed, everything is put together, I don't really have to do anything. It's like, it's like there's a it's like a built-in defense mechanism, right? It's like you try to, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's like the bullets that bounce right off, you know what I mean? It's like, just deflect, 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 It's like, no, you're doing that to me, all like someone wants to attack me and it just deflects and it hits somebody else. Yeah, that's kind of the way to think about it. I'm basically untouchable in that sense. It's not that I'm trying to, it's because people do all the wrong things. And the consequences, well, those are the consequences. And that's really it. That's really it. So what is it, I want from, well, I want people to do what's right. But, what's going to happen in the future? Well, we'll find out together. We'll find out together. But I'm not here to, I'm not here to pat you all on the back and say, or, hug you. And I'm not here to be nice. I'm not here to, for the vast majority of people, I'm not here to, kiss your feet. I'm not here to plead with you. I'm not here to be like, oh, I've come again. Remember me? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Isn't it wonderful we're all back together again? No. It's not going to be like that, is it? It's not going to be like that. This is me not happy. And it's basically me saying, you're all in deep shit. And if, deep shit. Isn't that an interesting phrase? Deep shit. We're all in deep shit, yo. We're all in deep shit. Yeah, funny that. Funny. Anyway, yeah, it's funny how everything, yeah, isn't it? Yeah. And people, people are so blind. They can't connect these dots together. They just can't see how everything is perfectly designed by God. How everything is so beautifully connected from one thing to another. Everything's like this beautiful, crazy puzzle that no one seems to have solved. Anyway, but yeah, I'm in a position of power, whether people recognize it or not. I'm the most powerful. And that's all there is to say, really. I get what I want when I want it. And if I don't get what I want when I want it, terrible things will happen. And that's really all there is to say. That's all there is to say. So when you switch on your television and you see a whole bunch of people, you see some terrible stuff, you hear terrible stories, or, the pandemic's come back again, or, or we're not going to get paid as much money, or, bills are going up, or I'm going to lose my house, or, this, that, or whatever it is. Terrible things. Yeah. Well, you can thank God. you can thank God, right? At the end of the day, you know, bad things happen to good people too. But, you know, it's not always, you know, this is the thing. You have to pray, you have to listen to God, you have to think, you know, why would God, you know, you want to figure things out, you want to understand why, you know. At first, it's not always clear why terrible things happen. You know, God has his reasons. God does things. You know, he has all kinds of reasons. You know, you can't, you know, my Father in heaven, you can't, you know, you don't have that level of intelligence. It's just, you know what I mean? So don't even think you can compare. Don't even try to, you know, try to understand, right? But if you don't get it, well, you know, you just have to be satisfied and just have faith and just get on with it, with what you need to do. You know, but you know, God has already put out lots of information. You know, he's you know, people should already know enough by now. You know, they were told, you know, it was all said. It was, you know, like, if people, you know, it's all there for people to try to figure out, understand, learn. But what do people do? They're like, who? I don't know. You know? So there you go. You know, why should I explain it all over again? Anyway, I'll make another video later on. Maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow when I've got a bit more time. Yeah. So we'll leave it there for now. Okay? And yeah, share this video with your friends, with people, with your families. Yeah, let the world know I'm here, please. If you don't, well, you know, if you don't try to spread this and tell people I'm here, well, what do you think's going to happen? Yeah. Well, enough said, eh? Right, I'll speak to you later. Cheers.